more kind of a filler to just remember some of this stuff that's, basic common sense. And how this came about was when Kirsten and I were over at the Gas and Oil Exposition in Calgary. We met a whole bunch of people at these booths, and we thought, you know what, we'll give back and put some information up for you guys so that you can actually see how to do some decent follow-up. So without any further ado, I'm going to just hold on as I go through the second slide here. Do you have control, or do I have control of that?
I'll go to the second one. There you go.
Okay. Am I back on control on that one, though?
I hope so.
Okay. So I can't see.
That's fine. Slide 2.
Yeah, but I can't see on my computer.
Okay.
Sorry, technical glitch,
You're on
folks.
agenda. Just refresh the page, Chris.
Okay. Bear with us for a sec, folks. There we are on 2. Okay, so back on. Hip, hip, hooray. Technology is wonderful. So I'm going to talk a little bit about follow-up. I'm going to talk about a process that you can leverage and utilize to get more sales out of the people that you've met at the trade show, and some of the do's and don'ts of trade show follow-up as well. So first thing that I'm going to talk about is how you actually just do follow-up with people and stuff like that. So in a couple of slides, I'm going to get into some interesting stats about follow-up at trade shows, but there's generally a couple of ways you do it. One is either through a call or an email, and in fact you can do a letter, although I don't know many people that would probably send a letter nowadays and stuff like that, but there actually is 3 ways to do it. I always say have more than one option, because some people do not want a call, some people do not want an email, some people may want something sent to them and stuff like that. Also, when you are following up with people, typically what you're going to do is you're going to lead with some sort of an offer or some sort of thing that you want to actually do. And I always say have that kind of entry-level thing that you follow up with people, but always have kind of one in your back pocket as an option as well. And when I talk about that kind of option that's in the back pocket, you try to make it educational in nature. Don't come at somebody with I'm going to sell you this, and I'm going to sell you this. If you come at them and they say, I'd like to sell you this, then they say no. Then you come back and say, hey, you know what? We do education sessions, or we have this, or I've got an email newsletter that I use or send out on a regular basis with information. How be I put you on that list? Because what happens is when the person says no to your offer that's coming at them right now, they're just telling you they're not in buy mode right now. Doesn't mean they won't buy, but it's just saying they're not in buy mode right now. And as I say, always, also make sure that you put these people on a newsletter if you can. Unfortunately, after the fact, there's some things that you probably should have done beforehand, which is when you're at a trade show, is when you meet somebody and get their card, just ask them if you can put them on a newsletter or contact them via email, because that gives you permission to go and contact them as well. And I'm going to say how not to follow up. So this is kind of one of those things. Timing is everything in follow-up, obviously. You should be following up with anyone from a trade show, as soon as possible. After you get cards and stuff like that. You don't want to wait any more than 2 weeks, because it kind of gets out of their memory as they get back into the mode of where they're working and also dealing with every day and stuff like that. So, timing is everything. My suggestion would be that if you can get it within that 2-week period, you're doing well. But the minute the show ends, if you can get something out the door to people, it shows responsiveness on your part. So, that is the whole idea behind time.
Yeah, and in our case, we sent out an information mailer the Monday following the trade show.
Yep.
So we sent it out at 8. I sent it out at 7 and 8 o'clock. 7 o'clock for the Eastern time zone and 8 o'clock for the Western time zone.
Yep.
In aims to get in there before everyone started looking at their emails on Monday morning.
Exactly. So I always that's an interesting comment if you're gonna follow up via email is. I always say, depending on the service you have, get it as close to 8 o'clock as possible. Not on 8 o'clock, but like you say, I use Aweber for my email newsletter stuff, but I'll put it in at 7:55 so that it's first thing in the door. MailChimp, if I have to use MailChimp, I'll put it in at 7:45. I'll get into that in a couple of minutes here as well.
Gotcha.
So we're going to go through the process. So here's kind of the statistics that are wrapped around trade show follow-up. And the interesting facts, so I went online, did a whole bunch of research on this, and I found that 80% of all sales leads are not followed up on from a trade show. So 80%. So you go to a booth and you don't even bother with 80% of the people that come by your booth, right? Preconceived notion that they just aren't a buyer, this or that. Maybe not. Who knows, right? Of that, the other thing you have to understand, though, is that what probably is driving that is 80% of the leads are not set to buy at that point in time. And a lot of the times it's the rule of 80 here, I guess, is 80% of the leads don't buy until after the fifth contact. And in fact, actually the stats are if you have a high dollar volume or a high dollar value product, anything over $35,000, typically it takes 7 contacts for that person to buy. And that's a qualified person who's actually looking to buy, obviously. So there's the stats behind this. So if you start doing the math on this, if you start with just 100, because it's easy to get percentages off 100, if you're the 20% that get followed up on the 20% that actually are set to buy, then there's 4 people out of 100 that come by the booth that are in buy mode at that point in time. If you only send 1 contact to them, which most people probably would, then guess what? With less than 5 touches, you're in at 0.8 of a person out of 100. So you really are less than 1 person who's qualified or going to use you or look at you as a potential source of buying. If you take a look at what that could be, is basically you start with the same 100. If you even go after the 80% of the 80 that aren't looking right there, then you got 64 people that are actually in that market, right? So you're in the majority now. And if you can get 5 touches into them and they're set to buy and they're in that mode, 51.2 people. So basically over 50 people compared to less than 1. Huge difference, right? I mean, 50 times greater, 51 times greater, 52, something like that. My idea, though, is that, a lot of the people that do come by the booth are not qualified buyers, or they're not going to be in buy mode. So let's just say even half are, because they're at a show, they stop by your booth, they're trying to find out more information and stuff like that. Even if half are, if you start looking at the full spectrum of everyone and following up with them, you're 32 times greater chance of getting business or getting their business and stuff like that. So just food for thought. A lot of people just do not follow up. If you change your process methodology and take a look at it a different way and do follow up with everyone, you stand a far better chance. And the other thing too is if you actually do that multiple touches with the person. So that's where we start getting into the process here. So the process itself it's simple. Use an email campaign with these people. That's why it's important to ask people when they come by your booth originally. So this is food for thought at any trade shows you do in the future, is always ask them if they give you a card, can I send you information? Can I use your email and send you an information, right? Make note of the people that say no, because you're going to find the vast majority of people say yes. There'll be some people that just say, no, I don't want contact. So make sure you make a note on their card so that you don't send them stuff and aggravate them and stuff like that. This whole process behind this, though, is, that 4, 14, 30, and 30. So there's the idea is at least 4 days after at the latest, have information out to people on an email campaign. And I know a lot of people are going to say, it's really tough to take all the cards I have and input them into a system. And I'm going to get to that in a second with something that Kirsten found, which is amazing. But I'm going to get to that in a little bit here that'll help you out with that. So 4 days after the process, and now if you're at the oil or the gas and oil exposition, my take would be you'd want to start doing it today or Monday at the latest on this one. 14 days later, follow up with something. So you start with the 4 days with your here's my lead with my product and, would you join our newsletter type thing, right? Then the second one might be that 14 days after the fact, which is, hey, by the way, got an education webinar going on, or a webcast if you want to use what we do, or a netcast, what we do. And then 30 days after that, you have other information that you just slowly drip into this person. And then every 30 days after that, basically pick a day each month, right? And just put this stuff in front of these people, drip, 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 and it just keeps going. They start seeing your information and changing what you're sending to them each time. They slowly but surely understand what it is that you do. So one of 2 things is going to happen. Well, actually, one of 3 things is going to happen here. So what happens is, first thing is, someone is going to look at this and continue to see this stuff, and they'll phone you because you're top of mind because they keep seeing your stuff. Secondly, what they're going to do is they're going to click and say, unsubscribe, I don't want to see or hear from you, which means they're probably not a qualified buyer. Mm-hmm. Or the other thing, too, is the first time they get this, or what's going to happen is they're just going to keep getting your emails long time after that. If they don't buy from you, not a problem. Here's the other side to this, is that if they keep seeing information from you, guess what's going to happen? If they have a friend that needs something that you sell, they're going to let them know about it. So it's a win-win-win situation all the way around the mark here. I also say in here, you want to segment. You don't really necessarily want to send the same message to everybody. Your company or what you do, you may allow you to do that, but you may have different types of clients and customers that might be appropriate for one type of service that may not be appropriate for other. So what you want to do is you want to be able to segment those people in an email list. And I'll get into how you create this email list in a second here. And one of the things that you can do is you can cross-pollinate these people when you start doing this drip campaign with people by sending an email. You can also interject in there that if I'm selling kind of services up here, but I sell products to another group over here, I can interject into my services email that, by the way, we do have products. Or I can put in my products email that goes out to people. By the way, we do have services to augment this sort of stuff too. So that's the way you kind of cross-pollinate or cross-sell across the board. The other thing too is the tracking issues. If you're using an email service like MailChimp or Aweber or Constant Contact or Vertical Response or anything like that. Salesforce.com, Sugar CRM. You have the ability to track, and not only do you have the ability to track, you get to see what people click on and stuff like that. And this is extremely important. I'll get to that in a couple of secs here. The reason you want to use one of those services, though, is because you do not want to send 700 or 800 emails out through Outlook to somebody because your internet service provider will blacklist you or the company you're working for and shut down your access to the internet, which you don't want to be known as a person that ruined the internet for your company and stuff like that. And then the aspect after the fact is trying to get yourself back onto that service is extremely tough. Use a reputable company to do this follow-up stuff. It's not very expensive. In fact, MailChimp is free for up to 2,000 contacts.
Something like that.
And up to 12,000 emails, which means if you have 2,000 contacts, you can send 6 emails out a month to these people. It's a free service and easy to use.
And it looks good.
Exactly. So as we get into, am I frozen up here again?
I'll go to the next slide for you.
Hold on.
There you go.
Yeah, but I can't see it, so just give me a second here. Sorry, folks. Technical glitches. So in the email campaign, so what you want to do is you want to add names to an email service. As I said before, an Aweber, MailChimp, Constant Contact, so on and so forth. You want to craft up a follow-up letter, which you want to send off to people, and then you send that letter. Then once again, you track those clicks as to, you have hyperlinks in your email as to different products or services or whatever it is you have or what you're trying to offer, and you see who's clicking on those ones. And then you can create actual follow-up emails for those people that are clicking on certain things. So if you have service XYZ and service ABC, I guess, if they click on this and there's 10 people or 20 people that click on this, you can send these guys an email with further information that says, hey, notice that this is of interest to you, and here's some follow-up information. Would like to set up a time to talk to you. If they click here, same sort of thing. You go through that. Then the other aspect of this is, what am I doing for the actual 4, 14, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30? What's that kind of campaign look like too? So you got to keep thinking about what that stuff is. And always, one of the things that we always look at is track and follow and make sure you see what's going on when people are looking at this information. So now into the actual visibility side of things. So I'm using something that part of my email newsletter I sent out last week. I actually screen captured this to see what was going on. In Aweber, and this is Aweber that I have, MailChimp does the same thing, and I'm sure the other programs do this. It says, here's how many are sent. Here's how many bounced, which means did not get delivered. And then you can get complaints. People complain if they don't think they're getting information from you when they should be or something like that. Or
it registers the spam button. They click on their email.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why it's important that you say, I would like to get your email and send some information to you and follow up after the fact. Now, I can see how many people actually open. So in this case, I actually copied this literally within, I don't know how long it was after. It was within the day or something like that. I had 170 people open, which is 28% of my list, which is pretty darn good, actually. It's industry average right now. I had 44 people click through on certain links that were in my newsletter. And the links are what I call hyperlinks, which is a website URL or a place I'm trying to direct them to. If I was actually selling something, I could see how much sales we're going through here or how many hits we're going through and how many people actually unsubscribed. So this kind of is the first pass. You see, okay, how many people actually opened? Then what I do is I get in and say, okay, who actually opened up these emails? And, what did they actually click on or how many times did they open it and stuff like that? So I had to actually take the side and get rid of names and stuff so that I could post it up and everything like that. But, the first guy, Michael, and I don't know who it was, he opened my email 10 times. So obviously something was compelling there for him. And he clicked through on three different clicks. The next person opened it 4 times, but they didn't click. So a lot of these people didn't click. Go down to the kind of the third on the bottom. The guy opened it 3 times, clicked on 4. So you can start seeing, okay, people are clicking, people are looking, people are opening. I get an understanding on that stuff. This is that deeper visibility. So you can get an understanding of how you actually can follow up with these people. So can you imagine why I don't want to actually send a letter in snail mail? Because I have no idea what the heck's going on, when I can put this through email and understand exactly what the people on the list are doing with the information that I sent them. Powerful, very powerful, obviously, right? Then once I see what this is I can see, here's the links and what they clicked on. I see 13 people clicked on my, my Calgary Sales Lead ebook that I created and stuff like that in this campaign. If I want to do a follow-up with them, guess what? I hit that send directly to these subscribers with a follow-up piece of information. Click. Hey, see you like this. What would you like to learn? Would you like to learn some more? We've got an online demo going on. We got this going on. We've got a session going on down at our shop if you'd like to come by. I can send more product literature. Whatever it is you want to send to these people. It's absolutely one of the easiest ways to take all the people that you have and filter them right down to the guys that are actually, or the people, sorry, I shouldn't say guys, that's so sexist, is down to the people that are very interested. Focus your efforts on the people that are interested as opposed to working on the people that don't even care. That's the easiest way to look at this stuff. So I hope you understand that process right there is one that just literally nails down who you should be focusing on. Now, that said, though, the nice thing about this is that as you're doing these follow-ups after the fact and you send it out, the people that clicked on this list originally, now you have to resegment. I would pull them off this list because they've already made, if you make connections with them and start lining up business and stuff like that with them, I would take them off the list. The people that click through and do stuff like that don't talk to you or set up a meeting or anything like that, you can still keep them on that list and keep that drip campaign going and stuff like that. Long story short, here is you get to see who clicks, how many times they click, see what they clicked, and then allows you to build a plan of attack and go after the business that you want to go. Very simple, easy methodology for going after sales in business. The email services that we talked about, I don't know if you've got any that you show up there. Aweber is one that I use. I also use MailChimp. Constant Contact and Vertical Response are a couple other ones I believe that are out there. There's numerous ones. Yeah. Aweber is good. Lots of good analytics behind the scene. What I find problem with Aweber is building the actual email newsletters is wonky sometimes. MailChimp, on the other hand, is so simple, even I can use it, which says a lot. The fact is that it is a very good service. That I think that MailChimp doesn't have the kind of follow-up tools that Aweber does, though, does it? Probably doesn't, actually. Yeah. So you give and take, right? And some companies out there might have Salesforce, an account with Salesforce, or an account with Sugar CRM or various other CRM programs. They kind of bury it into a huge campaign inside the CRM. So you're gonna kind of have to work with all those. But I think what's key are the milestones of how to actually touch point these people. Yes, in the list, right? Exactly. And I think what it is. You have to put some thought into what it is, what those messages are going to be on a go forward basis. So the do's and don'ts as we kind of come down the home stretch here. So make sure that you do follow up with people. Make sure that you have a call to action. That's one of the things that always aggravates me about people, is that they don't have a call to action in anything, which is like, hi, thanks for coming to the trade show. Mm-hmm. Duh. Doesn't help. Exactly. Make sure that you have an offer, right? And have that sub offer, which is not as threatening as the offer, I guess, is the best way to put it. If they don't want to buy at that point in time or are interested in it, just, can I put you on the newsletter? Can I do this? Can I do that? Something educational so you keep that contact going with them. Make sure that you, if you don't have permission to email them, pick up the phone, call, and say, met you at the trade show, want to send you some info as well, because you want to get them on that list. Now, if you are actually calling them, try to set up a meeting at the same time, but make sure that you actually have their permission to get on that. The other thing, too, is make sure you evaluate what works and what doesn't work when you're tracking and going through and stuff like that. The stuff that works, if you've got a drip campaign going, a drip marketing campaign going, keep incorporating that in. The stuff that's not working or not resonating with people, remove it, try something new in there and stuff like that. So if you're putting products in and products are getting a huge uptake, or product A, B, C, right? So product A, B, and C. If C's not getting any uptake, you know what? Remove it. slide something else in, or just keep A and B going on this one and stuff like that. So that's what you do. You evaluate and stuff like that. So don't email if you do not have permission. You know, can spam in the U.S. and Canada. The email law that I don't think is in effect yet, but going into effect very quickly, is the strongest in the world. If you start sending off stuff like this to people, the governing body in Canada, CRTC, I would probably imagine on that one, will come after you. Well, may come after you. I shouldn't say they will.
They have cause to. Yeah.
They have cause to. Could shut down your company's internet and stuff like that, and they get you charged a whole bunch of different things. You don't want to get known as a person who broke the internet for the company, once again, as I say. Don't add them to an email newsletter if they haven't given you permission. You know what? That is one of my number one pet peeves, is that because I read a daily sales and marketing blog, people see me online and they throw me on to their email newsletter. And it's like, you know what? If anyone's watching, stop it, please. I'm so fed up with having to unsubscribe to these email newsletters. I get one that comes from Saudi Arabia, written in Arabic, and I can't unsubscribe because I don't know how to unsubscribe from it. It's crazy.
That's the spam button.
Exactly. Don't wait too long to follow up, because people will forget who you are and what you do and stuff like that. And don't forget to continue to send information to these people. This is a process. It's not it's not a sprint. It is a marathon. It takes time for this to foster these kind of relationships and stuff like that. One last trick where Kirsten found this out, which I thought was amazing. So I come to the show and I got these stack of cards. I'm trying to see if you got a stack of cards here.
My cards, I don't know where they went.
I don't know if you have them there or not. Anyways, big stack of cards, right? So we're like, how are we going to input this? This is crazy, right? So what he found was Card Munch by LinkedIn. And it's on your iPhone. It's on an Android. I don't know if it's on BlackBerry. By the way, did you see BlackBerry today down $7 on 36?
Oh, boy.
It's off 25%. Anyway, sorry, we're not off on a tangent here. So what happens is you put it on your phone here. And I'm just going to pull up the app. Or maybe you could pull up the app.
Well, you take a picture of the card.
Yeah.
And it automatically sends it up to the server. And a real person fills in all the information on your business card, and sends it back to your iPhone as an app. And the beauty is that you can go on their website, cardmunch.com, and download the entire spreadsheet with all of the context. And the amount of the number of errors reported through this is like less than 5%. I mean, there are a few errors that occur in there, but compared to you save literally for 100 cards, you're saving about 3 to 4 hours in data entry. Yeah. I mean,
I had 54. It told me I saved about 2.5 hours, I think, or just over 2 hours, I think is what it was. Took me 10 minutes to click, send, click, send. And, he says the beauty is that it's, the error rate isn't there. Now, the beauty is it's free.
It's free.
It's free.
And it's from a reputable company.
Exactly.
It's LinkedIn that bought Card Munch. So LinkedIn is, you can even tie it right into your LinkedIn account and invite people right into LinkedIn.
Exactly. So
it's great.
Long story short is you download the app to your phone, you take the pictures, and not even trade shows. This is good for any day, right? When you meet someone. You send it off, and then what happens is it comes back, and you can use it on your phone. You can email, delete, add to LinkedIn, or something like that. I can't. There's 4 options. But as you say, you just go to Card Munch, you log into your account through your LinkedIn sign in and stuff like that. And then you just go to the contacts, and then up in the right corner, I think it is, you could probably pull it up if you wanted to on here, is, and I should have thought about that beforehand, sorry, is something that says, I think it says beta download files or something like that, or download contacts, beta form or something like that. And then it gives you the option. Are you going to pull it up right now and see if you can show people?
Show that to them. Yeah. Anyways, we were stoked about this because we had a lot of cards in the last show that we needed to.
That's amazing.
And that's what reduces the time delay to get back to people. So you can get it in a database and get it off, get the emails going. That's what really saves you time.
Get rid of the 80% of the stuff that takes the most amount of time, right?
Absolutely.
Let LinkedIn.
Great plug for Card Munch today.
I guess so. Yeah. You can pull it up. I'm going to talk about our offer, right? So our offer, once again, here's my call to action, what you always should have, is we can assist you setting up this process and help you with that lead nurturing if you'd like. It is something that we, kind of in our wheelhouse where we can help people and create it, because, trying to set up Aweber, trying to set up MailChimp and stuff like that can be confusing for people. We've been there, we've done it. We can help you with that sort of stuff, right? There's a cost to it. We're not free like Card Munch, but there is a cost to it and stuff like that. I always talk about kind of our upcoming netcasts. We don't have a heck of a lot coming up over the summer. We're probably going to go to recorded
All
versions.
recorded. This one will be recorded,
Yeah.
and so you can play it back. And if you know anybody that would benefit from this, you can forward it to them. We'll send you the link following this live broadcast.
Kirsten's off to the Caribbean, so unfortunately he's got sketchy internet. I may actually try to run a couple of these on the site by myself. Meander my way through and see if I can hack it out and do a couple, but we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
So that's the upcoming ones, and how to reach us. You can reach Kirsten from Refreshed IT at Kirsten at refreshedit.com or 403-775-6969, extension 2. Yep. I'm extension 1. I'm with Sales Tip a Day, but I also work with Kirsten on a bunch of things too. And
if you have any questions, send your questions through the question form on the top right-hand corner of this broadcast. We will answer those questions if we don't have time, or if this is in a recorded version, we'll get back to you in an email. But please do send your questions in. I did get a couple pongs here from my phone. Could you give us a few examples of call to actions?
In this case, well, a call to action would be anything that's prompting somebody to go do something, right? Which is, for example, if you wanted someone to just download information on a product, you could say download catalog here or download information here. The other one would be click here to send an email to line up a time, or look at our calendars to line up a time. Click here to call us. Click here to buy, for example. Those are calls to action. So you should always have some form of a call to action sitting in any kind of sales literature that you do. You're just pushing people towards that close is what it is the whole idea behind it. So
another question here. My boss tells me I should be phoning them the following week. When should I call them?
It's a good question. You know what? So here's what I have found is if you're going to start calling people, if you call people during the day, so put yourself in their shoes. I'm working from 8 to 5 and I am working hard, right? I get a phone call. So yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm aggravated. You know, the easiest time to get a hold of people is between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning. No gatekeepers is the best thing. I've actually called CFOs of like some of the largest.
You probably get the owners at that time of the morning.
But even I've called some of the CFOs and CEOs of some of the largest companies in Canada at that time, and they'll answer their phone. It's crazy. You know, I remember talking to, who was it? The CFO of Suncor. CEO, sorry, I'm off on a tangent here, but a CEO of, what was the other company? Okay, big, huge company here. You get them at that time, right? Because they don't have the screeners sitting in there and stuff like that. The other thing, too, is these guys are just kind of setting up their days, right? They're more apt to talking to you and listening to you and stuff like that. The other side is kind of later on in the day, that 4:30 to 6 time frame, because these guys also tend to stay late if they're doing things. I'm not a big fan of calling people after the fact, because the fact is you're interrupting their day, and it's not.
And immediately following a trade show, they're pretty busy.
Yeah.
They got lots of stuff going on.
Well, how many other people actually got them too, right?
Exactly. So you got to be. You have to be different. One thing I was always told, recommended to me by those that were successful at contacting people, is you never leave a message with your blurb in their voicemail. Best thing to do is to just keep it really simple. Say, I'll try you in about in a day or so. Here's my phone if you need to reach me, but don't go into a tangent about what you do in a voicemail. That never works.
Yeah. The other thing too is you got to think about is how many cards do you have, right? Like if I've got 500 cards and I'm supposed to call that week, what's the quality of those calls going to be? To tell you the truth, right? It's a lot of time wasted. It is. I truly believe what happens is, if you really want, I think your first bet, send them the email as a process I went through on this one, and then inform them that you're going to call them after the show. Unless someone has actually talked to you and said, hey, I want you to call me and stuff like that. But if it's just kind of the card and you don't know what it's about, or there's no follow-up or anything like that, send the email saying, hey, I'm going to call you within the next week here or next 2 weeks or something like that. And in that, you also have the offer, which is, here's what we do, or here's something else we can do for you, right? And then that way you actually have a reason to call them and say, hey, I sent you an email because you came by the booth. We've got this offer, or I'd like to do this for you, blah, blah, blah. That's the follow-up. That's the kind of that warm lead in the door, obviously. That's what I'm more of a fan of.
Well, and what we actually succeeded at doing was instead of actually trying to call all these people, what you do is you create some kind of an event that draws them into what you have to offer. A follow-up invitation, either through an email or through an actual invitation card, to an online event, whether it's a webinar or some kind of an online video that you can get them to register for, is the best way to get them to engage in what you're doing, and give them a time limit to be able to see that, so that they feel that an urgency to contact back to get that offer, at least to get to know who you are. And so, what we do here is we do these broadcasts. Now, right now it's live. We record it and then we play it again. And what we're going to do is we're going to send out invitations to everyone that wasn't able to make it to this live broadcast to see the recorded version. And then that's the follow-up. Most times when we do that, we never have to call people. They always end up contacting us. So that's...
and by the way, just while we're on this, anyone that actually showed up today and gave us an email, we will put you on our subscription list. I'm telling you right now. And we'll send you through to let you know when the other netcasts start coming up and stuff like that. And all geared around sales and marketing and stuff. If you don't want to be a part of it, just hit unsubscribe and you'll come off. But we have some very valuable information that comes up. Any other questions come in? Or?
I don't think so. I'll just check my other email to make sure there's... I think last time we did this, a flurry of them came in about 2 minutes after we were finished the broadcast.
Absolutely.
So what typically happens is people just don't have something to think of, and then they can send it in. Yeah. Those questions will come through to the iPhone, so to our mobile devices. So we will answer those questions in an email, and we'll also try to leave those questions and answers open online at our show notes, which is at netcastevent.com. Yep. So,
you know what? We'll wait for a couple minutes, see if some come in. What I'll do is I'll talk kind of a bit about the email services as well, once again. Like I say, MailChimp has a free service. I think their premium service where you actually pay for it, not very expensive a month. I know Aweber's start out is about $20 a month. I'm sure the other ones are close to that range. The fact is that when you're paying for something, you get a little bit more. So, I know you have a free account and I have a free account on MailChimp. I think
I'm surprised how much I was able to do with that free account.
And if you actually pay, I'm sure you get that extra reporting and stuff that goes in there and stuff like that. Because I actually pay through Aweber, I already get all that reporting. And you know what? Same thing with Aweber. The reports that I get, I'm just the tip of the iceberg. I don't use that many. They've probably got 50 or 60 in there that will help you get more competitive intelligence. But the fact is that I'm just using certain ones, right?
I got another one here.
Oh, okay.
How do I stop from being repetitive in my follow-ups? So I guess that's related to diversifying. Yeah. And sorry, I didn't read your whole question. I just read the key bullet point.
So how do I do that? So what happens is, let's use like if I'm a one-trick pony, I only have one service and stuff like that, right? I think it's just like you say, kind of changing that message, right? Once is kind of the sales push. The next one is kind of, here, why don't we educate you? I've got maybe a white paper that I've created with some information. Then, the one after that might be, 30 days later or something like that, which is have an online webinar, would like to bring you through to that. Or, second thing would be previous paper that we'd sent you information on. One after that might be got an event going on down here, would like to invite you to that. Third one comes back, or fourth one comes up is, by the way, here's the offering that we've got, and we've got a limited time offer on it, stuff like that. You have to change it up. You have to really think about what it is that the message is that you want to get out and stuff like that.
And it's real important to identify some of the critical points and reasons why these people were at the show, and address those in some kind of informational session. Giving them some information that will enrich their business, their success, that isn't pitchy, is real important. That's why offering like what we do here, we're giving away some tips and some information. You know now what we do, but we're giving this stuff away. The same kind of thing, if you can apply that to your business, is there's some way of giving your potential clients information that will help them. Another way to do that is connect them to other people, show them that you're a connector of people, give them leads to help their business. That kind of connection helps. Those are the kinds of tips to kind of, the first or second follow-up might be more product related and follow-up related, but then after that, mix it up a little bit with other things that you can help people with. And then their interest will still be kindled through that process. So,
Anything else come through?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thanks for joining. And we, like I said, we'll send you a follow-up email, and you can always go to netcastevent.com and see some of the other broadcasts that we have here. We have a pile of recorded broadcasts about sales and marketing, just free stuff. You just have to register to watch the event. Let others know. Below the live broadcast, there's a little row of share buttons. If you are a member of any of the LinkedIn communities or the Facebook communities, click onto the share and let people know about our broadcast. We're always looking to help people and to spread our reach, of course. And if there's any way we can help you, contact us. And even if we can forward you to people that we know, please let us know, and we'll do our best to connect you and help you out.
Yep. And last but not least, thank you very much for giving us some time.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Cool. Thanks.
Take care.
Bye. Have a good weekend.